now, because, you know, it's hard to get a job out here. I had to put that down. I know now, but I've never been paranoid or anything. I've never had that symptom. But I understand what you mean when you say you don't smoke weed, you don't like to smoke. I understand your flaws.
Of course. I mean, I don't want to smoke no weed, period. I mean, I've never seen nothing positive come out of smoking weed. I just never saw anything great about it at all. The people I've seen that smoke weed, I've seen what it does done to them. I seen them before they smoked weed, and then I seen them after they smoked weed. They stopped taking care of themselves. Their appearances went down. They look more like hobos. Their skin started to deteriorate. Their eyes they started to look like they was 55. Right now they look like they're about 55. They didn't smoke their years away. Their eyes is red. And I'm like, my goodness.
As I said, man,
I could barely
I
hear you. You
said,
got your TV up too loud.
hold on, yeah, but I understand your reason why you don't like to smoke weed. But I don't think these certain people they say they don't smoke weed for this particular reason. Because they don't want to be high or they've done it before and they don't like the feeling of it.
Well,
So
the
I
thing of it is this: it's like, what's the purpose? I can see if the people's like, man, we do it just to, you know, everybody in the circle. You know, I got plenty of friends that smoke. I just choose not to. If it's what they need, or they like some people, they mastered it, or they can function. They're functional smokers. Like it don't even. It's just like smoking a cigarette to them. It's just like their ambitions don't need to get higher. But some people, and majority of the people, it's a gateway drug. They pretty soon they become immune to the buzz. There's no buzz in it no more. They become immune, so they got to get a stronger weed. They got to get a stronger high. Next thing you know, they dipping it in embalming fluid. Next thing you know, that moves on. They want to try to smoke crack with weed. Next thing you know, they're doing crack by themselves. And then it goes on and on and on. And that's why people see like, ain't no problem, see no problem with this. Now they popping mollies and taking pills
yeah,
and Percocets, trying to catch that high.
yeah, then they was talking about this guy, little Pete, it's like friends didn't know what that they didn't know the size of him deteriorating. Like they couldn't stop him from taking all these. I think they overdose on Xanax.
Yeah,
I'm like, how do y'all not know this man is a problem? Like he has a real problem. They
yeah,
was like, I guess I said he must have witnessed. I said he must have witnessed. He didn't wake up. So everybody thinking, oh, he just taking a nap. Like,
yeah. You sound really far away.
sound really far away.
Okay, yeah. Now there you go.
Oh, that's because I had the phone. That's because of the way I got the phone.
Okay, right. Okay, I can hear you now.
Yeah. But they was like, I'm like, they must have thought. I said, he had to be laying down, sleep, and didn't wake up. Because ain't no way. Y'all not know this man just overdose on some candy and just say, okay, he's just sleeping. He'll wake up. And then realize, oh, he's not waking up.
Well, here's the thing. I never knew who Lil Peep was until he was gone. And then all these other drug head rappers are talking about rest in peace, Lil Peep. And I saw a video and I said, "Oh wow!" Well, I knew drugs was in the picture immediately, just by looking at the
Yeah.
picture. And no sane person Gonna want to put all them doggone tattoos and stuff all over. He act like he didn't have no care about anything in life anyway, just from looking at it. And I'm like, well, they say you don't judge a person by their cover, but I'm like, this cover says a lot. This
Yeah,
cover, this cover says rampant drug usage.
but then everybody assumes, oh, like, oh, they want to blame people. They want to blame people. Like, they want to blame people for this. Like, okay, this don't take first thing. Everybody knows this don't do that. He just said it because it's the cool thing to say, like, okay, I do person. But you know good doggone well you don't do no person.
See, that's the thing. When you start, it was like 50 Cent. 50 Cent don't smoke. But he made the song I Get High All the Time because he said, wow, people get high, so I'm gonna make the song I Get High All the Time. But when you do that, you're going down the slippery slope of promoting drug usage. Because the thing is, like when you got Future saying Molly Percocet, Molly Percocet, these people think that's cool to do. And even though it's not Future's fault, you pushing the agenda. Like one of these rappers had a tour called it the drug tour. How you gonna call something the drug tour? You know, you promoting drugs. Like all these crazy lean and syrup and all this stuff. I'm like, you promoting stuff that's gonna delude you into death. It's killing, it's like genocide. You got young people out here killing themselves out here on this syrup. Like when DJ Screw died, I ain't see like hardly anybody come out and be like, yo, Screw, that's messed up. Pimp C died. You think people would have learned things like, man, I gotta put the lean down. Lil Peep died. All of a sudden, oh man, Lil Peep, man, I have to stop. I gotta get off drugs now. I'm like, what?
There was another dude there before him, before Pete. There was another dude that died. His name was Peacock. And he died from drinking weed. I was like, oh my God, y'all. I kind of see what everybody's like, well, what's the problem with drinking weed? I said, y'all drink too much of it. And on top of that, not only are you drinking weed, you're mixing weed with pills and all these different pills. You mixing it with the Xanax and Molly, y'all doing all this together. And it's just basically killing you.
Oh, of course it is because they don't see the harm in it, and unless they die or get sick, and you know what, they'll still come back and do it. If they start feeling better, they'll do it all over again. They don't know how addictive it is. Like it's like morphine. People become addicted to it. That's why they have withdrawals. It is a powerful, addictive nature.
Yeah. But it's like when he's saying that okay, I have a disorder. I've been having a disorder since I was a kid. My whole thing was I said none of these problems didn't happen until you started drinking lean. You didn't have no fees, no none of that. As soon as you stop drinking lean, all of a sudden you have a seizure for some funny reason. I said, man, that's gotta be the withdrawal. I said, that's gotta be a withdrawal. Because he done drunk so much, he's trying to stop, he can't stop.
Oh, well, that happens. That happens 100%. So, what was the other thing you wanted to talk about with Derrick Rose? You said Derrick Rose is better than Allen Iverson.
I said, AI is better than zero. I said, I
100%.
disagree.
100%.
I disagree. I disagree because I said, man, you like, I know Derrick Rose is playing right now, but if it was 2011 Derrick Rose,
2011 Derrick Rose versus Allen Iverson's MVP year.
because I said, and Derrick Rose, because I remember the first time I seen Derrick Rose, I saw him in the final, I think I seen him in the final four. He was playing against Mario Sharp. And I said, he's going to have a better career than Mario Chalmers. Point blank, period. Everybody was buzzing off Mario Chalmers because Mario Chalmers, he get shot at the end of the game. I was like, he's not going to have a better NBA career than Derrick Rose. And then when I heard Derrick Rose was from Chicago, I was like, well, okay, he's from Chicago, and they drafted him. And then I said, okay, let's see what he's going to do. Rookie year, he comes out, he explodes, does his thing. But then 2011 MVP season, I felt like if he didn't play Miami, he would have won the finals. If he didn't go up against Miami, he would have won the finals.
Well, you can't say if. That's why it's the NBA. You got to play everybody. So it don't matter if who they played against. If they was good enough to win, they would have won. Allen Iverson had. Would you say Allen Iverson had a worse team than Derrick Rose? I would say Derrick Rose had better players than Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson was the only All-Star on his team. They had an old Dikembe Mutombo in there. They picked him up, and they had Aaron McKee, and he had Eric Snow. But I was like, dog, Derrick Rose had at least Leal Dang. He had some players on his team. He had Noah to grab boards. He had some players to get him to the next level. He even had three-point shooters. But, I mean, don't get me wrong. Derrick Rose was incredible. But you talking about Allen Iverson changed the league. He changed the entire NBA. His 2001 and 2002 averaging 31 a game. He was averaging 28, 26, was killing him.
Yeah, and then everybody was like, oh, and for everybody, why they don't like Allen Iverson. I was like, oh, I don't like Allen Iverson because he wears tattoos all over. I'm like, that don't mean what? He's small.
And Allen Iverson's worst years was his last 2 years. He averaged 13, and then he averaged like 12 points. He barely played. 13 and 12. He was with Detroit and all them, averaging 17. That was in the latter parts of his years. Allen Iverson has been hurt a lot. He's had a lot more injuries than Derrick Rose. And he's battled and played in them. He brought the arm sleeves in there. All these players is copying Allen Iverson. He was the first one to come out with all them tattoos once he got in the league and come out with a sleeve of tattoos. The one with the long armband on his wrist. That was it.
I said this also. I said that Allen Iverson, even though Allen Iverson, he's basically, at that point in time, he was like one of the best court deep, well, not one of the best point guards in the NBA. Even though he played the two spot. What point guard, what 6-foot guy would say, you know what, I'm going to play the two spot. I'm going to go get the big guard. The two guards. I'm going to go get the Kobe and the Michael Jordan of the world. I'm going to go get those guys. I was like, if that was the other guy, they would have got killed. They would have got justice because for one, they too short. They can't guard nobody. So I think that kind of hurt. As far as defensive wise, I think that kind of hurt him a little.
Look, when Derrick Rose came in his rookie year, he averaged 16 points a game. Allen Iverson has never averaged 16 points a game to the end of his career. Okay. Next year, he averaged 20 points a game. 20 points a game. And that was like one of his third best years. The MVP year, he averaged 25 points a game. Allen Iverson's MVP year, he averaged 31 points a game. Scored way more than him. Now, I'll admit he had an incredible year finishing at the rim, but he was not Allen Iverson. He couldn't pass like Allen Iverson. He could rebound, but probably not like Allen Iverson. But Allen Iverson didn't really go for that many rebounds, but when he did, he got them. He didn't have the ferociousness of Allen Iverson. He attacked, but his was more like reckless, abandoned type of thing with Derrick Rose. He got an explosive first step, and he could jump out of the building. He finished at the rim stronger than Allen Iverson. Allen Iverson had Allen Iverson had touch. He can go off the glass. He could do all these different things. But that was just how Allen Iverson worked.
But I said this about Allen Iverson. I said, man, everybody said the same thing about him. Time again. Oh, if he would have went to practice, he probably would have won a championship.
See, that's ESPN. He went to practice. I mean, that they just took that one little clip off ESPN. That don't make no sense. If you knew what was happening, I mean, he was talking about practice as far as like he was telling the people like, y'all want to talk about practice? My friend just died. You know, y'all we in here talking about practice, not the game. Y'all in here talking about a practice. He missed practice because his friend had died. He had permission to miss practice. He was mad. They had just lost the game, you know. And it's like, dude, we just lost the game. My friend died, and y'all want to talk about practice. But they edited to make it sound like he was just talking about like he didn't want to practice, you know. So it became infamous because of the way they edited the clip.
Yeah.
But they don't play it in its entirety.
Yeah. But I've always said this for all the Michael Jordan fans. And I hang around a bunch of Michael Jordan fans. They love this Michael Jordan. But I said this. I said, I know one thing that gets Michael Jordan fans so heated, and I bring it up every time we talk about Michael Jordan. Do you want to know what that is?
What is it?
1996. Allen Iverson rookie year. In Philadelphia. On top of the six line, in the top of the seat, Michael Jordan has him guarded. And they have to give a little pass, a little one over here, two over there, come on, straight away, in his face, face that. No, bye-bye. And they hate it. They're like, well, he's the same way. I said, he's 6 foot nothing. He's supposed to talk to him like that. It was just an exciting moment for Philadelphia because they never seen it happen. They haven't really had nothing like this since probably Charles Barkley. So when they got a chance to see that, they was like, this dude is for real.
Oh no, it wasn't just that. Mike knew the importance of that. The Bulls won by like 20, but it didn't even matter. Mike, yeah, right after that play, Mike went down there and got an and one. So the thing is, Mike knew the importance of that play. If you was to call Mike out or Mike one-on-one and Mike has got good defense on him, and Allen Iverson was to cross you up and score on you, he knows what that means to the kids on the playground. It wasn't just Philadelphia. That was everywhere. And I mean, that was in Chicago, that was in Detroit, that was in Memphis. It was on every highlight reel, and the internet wasn't what it was today. If the internet what it was today, oh, he would have really felt it. It was on every sports channel. Allen Iverson doing that move. You would have thought Philly won the game. They didn't even need to. That move was enough. And every kid on the playground was just roasting the fact that happened. Mike tried to go back and get his due diligence on him because he know on the playground that's what they're gonna be talking about. So Mike had to come down there and get him back right away because you can't just do that on Mike and it's gonna be cool. Mike gotta get you.
And you know who I blame for that? And I don't blame Michael for that. You know who I blame for that?
Oh.
I blame Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson caused that to happen.
Well, yeah, he wanted Mike to get up on him. He's Michael, get up. Michael, get up on him. But Michael at that point is near the like he's in his 30s at that point. But he's never seen nobody with a high dribble like that because normally when you pick the dribble up like that, that's normally a carry. Because after that game, the league started making changes, and he can no longer make that call anymore. He can no longer make that decision and say you could do that cross anymore. The NBA took that away. They started calling that high cross. They took that away from Allen Iverson. He can no longer do the high cross. So after that, every time he tried to do it, they came up with that high cross. They came right there and flagged him every time.
Yeah, and then everybody wanted to have the debate between him and Tim Hardaway. Oh, who got the best crossover? And I said Tim Hardaway. I was like,
Tim only had a two-step. Allen Iverson could cross you and break you down different ways. Tim had a what they called a UTEP two-step. You know, it was real quick 1-2. He crossed you, but see, he's old school Chicago crossover, where they go under. You know, the Allen Iverson cross is out and across. That's the new, which almost looks like a carry. You take the ball all the way out, but you expose it to everything else. Old school is keeping the ball low and going under. So that way you don't get it stolen or broken up as much. And then you could go right off the dribble. You might headbutt somebody if they reach in, but you're going under the defender's arm and keeping the ball under your knees. That's the old school crossover. You go under your knees. So when you cross, you go cross under your knees. That's how you keep it low and you keep it away from getting stolen and ripped from you. But the newer style of you got the ball so high, it's easier for the defender to just get a hand in there and knock the ball away. Coming with a high crossover. So it changed the game and made it more playground and bringing more playground into the NBA. The NBA had to change and make rules like with Damon Stoudemire with the drop step. Damon Stoudemire brought the drop step into the NBA. They didn't know what to call or how to call it. And he made that everybody started doing drop step. Because they ain't know what he was doing. They was like, that's not a travel. He jumped, stopped, and popped again. I was like, they had to, the NBA had to like train referees on how to how to judge it because they were like, that's ups and down, that's travel. They were like, no, that's not. It's a drop step. And they've never they saw it in college, but they've never saw it in the pro level until Damon Stoudemire came into the NBA and started doing it. He started. And once he came in there and brought that in there, he Mighty Mouse took over the league with that. And I just wish that he wasn't in Toronto. He would have got a lot more publicity. He did good when he was with Portland and everybody else, but a lot of people forget about Damon Stoudemire. And I was like, he helped revolutionize the game too and making the game go smaller because the smaller players start coming in and doing it. Him and Allen Iverson, they were doing it during that time when they came into the league.
Yeah, just like with James, and I said to myself, I said this all the time, I'm like, James Stoudemire, nobody remembers this guy. Like, you had young, like, people my age today, who is James Stoudemire? They're like, who is that? I don't know who that is.
Yep, he was the 1996 Rookie of the Year when he came in. He won Rookie of the Year in Toronto. He was something else. Then you got to look at let me see when did these other guys come in? There was a lot of other guys that came into the league. I think he was like either 96 or 95 rookie. Then I think Allen Iverson won it after him. And the game just started getting smaller and smaller. So people started looking at getting the smaller players in the league. And most of those big guys that played, you had to be athletic. You know, them old school power forwards wasn't playing no more. They was going to get some athletic power forwards. So now your power forward got to be able to guard a 2 guard, a point guard, got to be able to play like 5 positions.
Yeah, just like I said, like Isaiah Thomas, I always look at this guy, I'm like, how was he able to prosper on the team? Because Isaiah Thomas took some risk
Which Isaiah?
when the late Isaiah, the 80, 88, 89
Oh,
Isaiah.
the greatest player of all times, Isaiah Thomas. Okay, the Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah.
Okay, not that
I'm like,
pygmy thing that's over in Cleveland.
not, not the 5'9", not him. I'm like, how was he able to work? Cause you went from being a storm to now you got to facilitate, you got to pass the ball right, you got guys around, you got to make sure they get their touch, make sure everybody stays the role. I never understood it.
Well, see, here's
How
the
he was
thing
able to
about
take that
Isaiah
risk.
Thomas. Isaiah Lord Thomas III was the greatest player in grammar school. He was the greatest player in high school. He was the greatest player in college, won MVP, won a national championship, he won a championship in high school. He's won at every level. So when he came into the NBA as the number 2 pick in the draft, over Mark Aguirre, his buddy, came first. Isaiah was number 2. When he came into the NBA, he was already the best player, and he went to the Detroit Pistons, was like dead last, no market value, nothing. They built Detroit up into a masterful team that could win championships. They got players from all these different teams and drafted well. Once you draft Sally, Rodman, Mahorn, Dumars, your team takes off. Everybody else, they traded for Bill Laimbeer, and the team started to turn around. And then they got rid of Kelly Tripucka and Benson and all those guys that was just role players. Even though Kelly Tripucka was a scorer, you weren't going to win with Kelly Tripucka when you can have a Joe Dumars or Adrian Dantley to the team. Bring them over. Everybody could play their role. They remind me a lot of Minnesota. If Minnesota had, like, if they stayed together and developed and know their roles down to the T, Detroit Pistons was the greatest team to ever exist because they knew mentally how to play you. Nobody mentally, they were groomed to be this way. By playing against the Celtics, going against this team, they knew how to intimidate you. People were scared of Detroit. I mean, players were literally scared of other players. It was crazy. The way they would walk out the locker room together, they all had a stone wall. It was no joking, no laughing. They come out in a straight line. Lambeer's normally in the front or the right behind him. He was like the sergeant of arms, the general. He walked in and they all walked in a synchronized line, and people just was like scared. Fans be terrified when they come on the court like they were enforcers. It was an intimidating factor, but they had a strategy. They'll see how the game is going. In the last 5-6 minutes of the game, Isaiah would take the game over. They had a 3-guard rotation. They're the only Hall of Fame backcourt in NBA history in like 50, 60 years. There haven't been another Hall of Fame backcourt. Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars are the only Hall of Fame backcourt within the past 30, 40 years. And they never talk about it. But that's the truth. People like trying to name people. I'm like, no, they're not in the Hall. The Hall of Fame backcourt. There's never been one in like 50, 60 years and counting. So maybe some current players now, when they go, like, they'll be in there, but not really. I'm like, that is a very hard thing to accomplish, to have 2 backcourt players go to the Hall of Fame. So I'm like, we got 3 Hall of Fame and should have about 4 or 5 on that team. We got a Hall of Fame coach, Dennis Rodman Hall, Isaiah Thomas Hall, Joe Dumars Hall. I think Laimbeer should be in the Hall for what he's done, definitely. So right off the bat, you got a team that was designed to win. They took time. Everybody had to know their role. Laimbeer was the center, but he came out to the 3-point line because he could shoot threes. So he would drag the center out. Edwards, who was our power forward, would actually take over the role of center and go down there and bang you in the post. Buddha. We had a personality. Everybody had a nickname. It was incredible. It was the most mimicked. We were the first team in NBA history to have our own plane. We had our own private plane, round ball one. Everybody else was still taking the bus. I'm like, man, we were the most mimicked team in history, but because it was Detroit, they didn't care. The whole league was built around Magic and Bird. Then when Jordan came, they just like, okay, Michael Jordan, Magic and Bird. I'm like, well, y'all, how y'all gonna skip over Detroit? Because Chicago, Boston, and Los Angeles, major cities. Detroit, not so much. So now that they got Chicago in the mix, the Windy City, you got the Knicks, you got Patrick Ewing in the Knicks. They would put the Knicks above the Pistons because it's New York and Patrick Ewing. They got that going. It was anything they could do to try to shade Detroit, and they couldn't stop us from winning.
And I know this too about New York and Detroit. I know this with the Pistons. I said, man, the Pistons did this. They got black, like, they got so much hate from the media for doing this. I said, but the Knicks was doing this. The Pacers was doing this. They was playing the same way Detroit was playing. But, it's physical basketball when they did it. But when Pistons was doing it, it was dirty basketball. I said, no. It's the fact that they did it to Michael Jordan. They was doing it to Charles Barkley. They was doing it to the superstars. And you hated it because we can't win and it playing us like this.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The whole league played that way. So that's just how it was back then. So what was your other topic you wanted to talk about? You said it was something else you wanted to talk about. I couldn't remember.
Just like another thing. I know you pretty much have already yesterday. Well, last night, everybody raving over this doggone Cowboys and Eagles game. They raving over it. And I said, man, I saw this coming a mile away. I said, man, when Ezekiel Elliott is suspended, they're going to lose the Eagles. It's already signed sealed in the middle. They finna lose to the Eagles. The Eagles is finna win the division. They probably gonna win a playoff game. If they lucky, they probably finna go to the championship game. So with all this stuff going on in the NFL, and they were talking about this yesterday. They were talking about, Jerry Jones said this about Roger Goodell. And I was like, what did he say? He said Bob Kraft was a wuss compared to what I'm about to do to you. And he's not telling what are you finna do? And I don't know what's going on with the NFL now. It seems like they keep trying to make this whole protest thing the bigger story. I'm like, they might as well just get it something because this is not working. Because as long as y'all keep protesting, they're going to keep continuously making it about the flag. You're going to say this is about the flag. You're disrespecting the flag. You can't have that. So I said, just like with you post video on your other page, I seen that video. You posted the video about Marshawn Lynch. I said, man, Donald Trump should not be talking about nothing.
Well,
what he needs to be worried about is his impeachment.
Well, here's the deal. Let me talk about that right quick. You looking at Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones, a billionaire. Billionaires only care about themselves. Very rare you see a beer. They care about their benefit, what pertains to them. Now he's mad at Roger Goodell. Why? Just 2, 3 years ago, you applauded Roger Goodell for what he did with Tom Brady and Robert Kraft in that situation. You said Roger Goodell's done a great job.
Yep.
He was great for the job. That was 3 years ago. So he's made you and he's made all the owners more money than they've ever made in the past 3, 4 years. And he's up for an extension. Only now, when Ezekiel Elliott, his player on his team, is suspended, he's trying to make it and find out like, no, it's other reasons. It's the two teams in LA. It's this protest. It's this and that. It's like, look, you have nothing to worry about. Your players are not protesting. Your players do not take a knee. You don't have this problem, Jerry. So what is you talking about? Even before it was going on, Dak Prescott, nobody on the team was over there taking a knee when the flag was going on. So that's one, not a concern should be of Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones just want to make sure his Republican buddies are happy and feed this whole thing that's going on. Once Donald Trump decided to come after the NFL, they looking like we put you in office. We the ones that donated millions of dollars to your campaign. And here you are biting the hand that feeds you. So now we got to show unity when we going up against you. That's all it is. It's a dog and pony show. He's mad at talking about Robert Kraft and he gonna fight Roger Goodell. You're not gonna win. He has elected power over the NFL. When he came in for that power over the NFL, not besides the collective bargaining agreement, the only team that did not agree, there was only one team, and that was the Pittsburgh Steelers. That owner said, no, Goodell got too much power. I vote against it. The rest of you voted for him. And now you're going to act as if like there's a problem. You gave him the power. So now that you gave him the power, you can't just come there and say, hey, man, I don't like what you're doing now. It's too late. Too late. And the other owners are not going to agree with you. You're going to be in the minority. So you can fight and use every resource you want. They're going to give him the extension. And that's just that. The players, the same boat. They can be mad all they want. He has collective power to say, the collective bargaining agreement says Roger Goodell has final say so over all matters. He's the judge, jury, and prosecutor. Whatever his punishment is, no matter what, it can't even be questioned. They took him to court. I'm like, you just wasting your money. Because in the end, he could just say it was my decision. It could be based off facts, it could be based off fiction, it could be based on what he feel like. Y'all agreed to this. Because y'all wanted less practice, less OTAs. You got it. You didn't want any of the power. Now you realize once something happens, how stupid it was. See, that's how it happens.
Yep.
Every time when they realize what they lost, that now it's a problem. Like the rules in the NBA, when they got to go check the tape and look and see if something's a technical foul and all this, they call it ridiculous fouls 3 days later. Like, oh, we upgraded that to a flagrant one. It's like, how you the game over? Like, what good is it gonna do now?
Right.
So it's like it's stupid, and I'm like, you waste your time fixing things that are not broken. Like this is gonna improve the league. It doesn't. It's just another ridiculous excuse to help the referees have more control over the game. But at the time, the players don't argue stuff like that. Now they see it's like it don't work and it can hinder a game. When you see people like Carmelo Anthony get thrown out for something ridiculous, I'm like, that was ridiculous. An inadvertent elbow on a basketball play happens. Next thing you know, oh, it's a flagrant 2. He's ejected. And then it ends up costing them the game. So now it's subjectable to whatever you want to call it. But now they don't like the rule. Now it's like, look, we don't like the rule no more. Well, it's too late for that.
That's like I said, man, don't. It's like when we watch the basketball game, what you wonder why he thrown out of games. I said, you antagonize the referee, you antagonize them, and be all up in their face, and yelling and screaming and hollering. I'm like, no, you can't do that. Because then they're going to say, okay, you all up in my face, take the fire, you out of here. Just like when Draymond Green got suspended during the finals. I knew he was going to get suspended. So I said,
I know, because of that.
Another player out of here. And everybody was like, well, LeBron stepped over. Yeah, because he knew Draymond was the hottest. He knew Draymond was going to stay home. So he just said, let me walk over him and get him out. As soon as he tried to punch LeBron in the chest, I said, okay. I said, yep, he just spit it. Ain't no question about it. Because they warned him. They told him. Punch another player, go out of here. And as soon as they said he get this game time, I was like, this series is over. Cleveland is taking this series. It's over.
Well, when you got Brian Wardhog in there, you know, things like this happen. And that's exactly what happened. They put Brian Wardhog in there, and Wardhog went in there, and he kissed up to LeBron all the time. And all he seems to do is talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers 24/7. Let's see what Brian Wardhog do when LeBron is no longer in Cleveland after next season. Let's see how important Brian Wardhog is when you see him going around there sniffing behind LeBron in Los Angeles. LeBron love people that's gonna kiss up to him. So that's his whole thing. If you kiss up to LeBron, you his best friend. That's all to it.
I said to myself, man, for a city, because everybody just saying, oh, why did LeBron go back? Why did he go back to Cleveland all of a sudden? It's the same city where he left. They worked his jersey.
Because it's what he knows.
When he lost in the finals, they were actually cheering the fact that he lost in the finals. I was like, if I was LeBron, I would never went back. But I understand why he went back.
Right. He went back. He went back because of the Pat Riley situation. He went back because Pat Riley wasn't going to kiss his butt. All them years there, he thought, like, man, Pat Riley ain't even trying to give me my homeboys tickets. He telling me my mom gonna get this ticket and this is it. He ain't giving no special treatment to LeBron James. He's looking like, I never did this with Dwayne Wade. He never did that for Shaq. He never did that for any player in the league. Why would Pat Riley? He wouldn't even do that for Patrick Ewing, Magic Johnson. He didn't do that for none of them. Pat Riley was like, look, Magic Johnson is 10 times the player you are. Why in the world would I sit there and give you all of these things that I didn't even give to Magic? You know, he come from the old school way of playing. Like, look, you a player on this team. And you're going to be treated just like Bosh. You're going to be treated just like Wade. You're going to be treated just like everything else. I give y'all special treatments and, you know, some certain things, but some of the requests you ask for, you want 30 friends to come in and I got to get them their own role and all this. Yeah, that stuff is out of the, you out your bag for that. That ain't finna happen. Not under Pat Riley watch. So he was like, I'm going to show him I'm leaving.
And then on top of that, you got agents that already don't like him because agents feel like, why you got these guys around you when you're supposed to have a certified agent, even though the agents that he has, they qualified. They qualified to be the agent. But they just, or I guess, I don't know, I guess it's just they spirit. Something about them just don't sit right with them.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they was talking about, oh, Draymond Green and LeBron have beef. I was like,
they didn't have no beef. LeBron was having a meltdown because he saw the whole season coming down the drain. So he was mad. He was frustrated. He was the one out there starting stuff. trying to push buttons to see what he can get going because he was mad. They was finna be down 3-1, so he knew that game was lost, and he knew like I'm finna lose another NBA Finals. He knew it was coming right back to back. He was finna lose, and he started it. Draymond just couldn't control himself enough to not fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Had Draymond not responded the way he did, he didn't get suspended. That series is over. That series
And
is
then
over.
everybody talking about, oh, they got beat. I said, no, they don't. But I think I don't know if it's true or not, but I think Draymond Green represented by one of the LeBron's people. I think they work for the same agency or something like that.
I don't think
I
they
don't
work
know
for
if
the
that's
same
true.
agency, but
I,
I don't think they work for the same agency. But they both are like friends. Like they get along outside of the court. That's
but on the court,
they cool, right? They don't have no
but
problems.
here's the thing.
But I don't think they got the
But
same agency.
I know when I seen him do the little thing over here with the barbershop thing, I was like, these two, it's the same space, the same time actually having a conversation.
Oh yeah, I mean all that was staged. That's all staged. It's all California. They out there in Cali doing what they do, man. That's it's so phony now. You see these little Instagram things they set up. It's just like it's all the attention grabbing to turn you away from we suck as a team. Look at me do this. I'm finna get on the train. I'm about to do this. All this is just attention grabbing.
Yeah, I already do. When he got on that train, I said, yeah, he pretty much think y'all know.
All right, it wasn't no. We want to get back to the hotel quicker. It's like let's get some attention on us. LeBron know how to milk. He been in the league long enough. He knows how to get to the NBA Finals, and this is how. Go out there, keep putting all this stuff so the NBA could be enthused enough to put you in the finals. See, the Boston Celtics, you don't see none of them doing that. You don't see Kyrie making no Instagram posts. You don't see them doing all this stuff they working on. They just worried about winning games. LeBron, no, it's all about having that personality. It's all about being on the gram now and being light and all this stuff. So he's all about all that craziness. So now they can put him in there. So he can like, man, I'm a trending name. They got to put me in the finals. So he knows the politics. He already knows his fix. So he wants to do what he can so that the NBA can keep sending him to the finals. That's all he wants. He just playing for stats.
Everybody's talking about the fact that, because I said Boston, if he goes to LA, they're probably going to try to put LA in the finals. And they're going to try to put Boston